The U.S. spends $600 billion annually on education, the most of any country in the world. Yet, each year we come behind all of our competitors worldwide. So this led us to wonder, what are the faults in our American education that leads us to be as ineffective as we are? I'm Zach, this is Aisha, and that's Jason, and these are the faults in our education.
Now, the first fault that we would like to address is the very idea of standardization. Now, what is standardization? Standardization refers to a means of unifying the entire system of education. Something that will make sure that every single person in the school learns the same exact thing. Now, this is because the USA has been ranked number 35 in education by the OECD statistics of 2013. This is because they administered a test throughout each industrialized country and analyzed their scores in regards to mathematics, science, and reading, averaged up the scores, and compared them according to their average. We proved to be below that. Now, our solution, and allowing to apply the standardized capabilities, they increase testing and uniform methods of teaching. Now, yes, it is necessary that we do standardize certain things, because we do need to know certain things when we are teaching the students. However, it does come at a cost. The standards prove to focus more on uniformity rather than preparing everyone for the real world. According to Victoria Valerie Strauss, in her article, 11 Problems Created by Standardized Testing Obsession, she said it stifles creativity and imagination in the classroom. These two things are highly necessary when you go into the workforce in the future. And as you can tell, some of the methods prove to be very unorthodox. As you can see here by this very happy parent who apparently has a degree in engineering, and his son has been told to do an operation in the number line method of subtraction. This proves very, very unreasonable, and will actually, according to him, the answer is solved in under 5 seconds. Negative was 111. The process used is ridiculous and would result in termination if used. This is because we all need to focus on a certain set of standards, which we now refer to as Common Core.
Over half of the nation's state education chiefs and governors work together to create what we now call Common Core. According to Common Core's main website, Common Core was created due to a lack of standardization. Each state had its own illustration of proficiency. Each state had different expectations in which they expected their students to meet by a certain grade level. Now, Common Core does not mandate how teachers should teach, but what they should teach. Common Core aims to ensure all students, regardless of where they live, are granted the opportunity to graduate high school, be prepared for college, and ultimately for their careers and lives. They want to make it so that every student is able to graduate high school successfully. However, what are the issues with Common Core? What improvements can be made to Common Core? Common Core states that it won't diminish the standards of all states. Instead, it will use the standards from the states with the best educational progress, and from there be able to build on and ultimately raise all the standards of all states. It hopes to increase the standards of all states in America. Now, many teachers and parents have expressed their concerns to Common Core, stating that they believe Common Core and standardized tests does not show the full potential of their students. Many teachers and parents believe that there is more to the solution than just implementing Common Core. A former fellow of the American Educational Research Association uses statistics from tests, from NAEP test results, to argue that the better the state standards, the worse the students tend to do. The real conclusion is that state standards have little to do with students' performance. In other words, what really matters is what's actually being taught in the classroom and how effectively it's being taught. So Common Core should focus more on how to make education more interesting, more appealing to students, so that they're able to make associations with the world, so that they can feel that it's more memorable, that it's worthy of, that's necessary for them in their lives. And as you can see now, several states, like almost all of the US, has adopted Common Core. And it's not sure if the remaining will or will not, but as I said before, there's an ongoing debate amongst parents and students and the state. So we're not sure. And along with Common Core implements standardized tests. And with standardized tests, there comes a vast amount of homework that are used to better prepare students for their education for standardized tests.
Now, if you ask most students, they're going to tell you that the following homework is if they have any at all. Because most students don't want to go home and do more work than they've already done in school. But I had this belief too at the beginning, but I had to grow up and really look at why we have homework. Homework's used to compare us to what we're supposed to do in school. Unfortunately, it's not effective. The problems are the amount of homework we're given and the nature of the assignments that are given. A survey done by the University of Phoenix College of Education said that teachers felt they gave an average of 3.5 hours of homework per week per class. So here in Orange County, you divide 7 periods by 7 days, you have about 3.5 hours of homework per night. Now, this may seem like nothing to you. The National Education Association claims that students should receive more homework each year, starting with 10 minutes per grade level. So first graders should have 10 minutes of homework, fourth grader 40 minutes, so on, increasing until senior has 120 minutes of homework, or 2 hours. So already, we're going against the guidelines that students at most, at the highest level, should receive 2 hours. So that's a problem. This is Dr. Harris Cooper, who is a professor of neuroscience and psychology at Duke University, and he's the head of the neuroscience department there. And he's led a team that's done numerous studies on homework, how much we're given, and whether or not it's effective. And there were conflicting results, so he compiled all the results and came up with this. A little amount of homework may help elementary students build study habits and learn skills developed through practice. Homework for junior high students appears to reach the point of diminishing returns after about 90 minutes. For high school students, the positive line continues to climb between 90 minutes and 2.5 hours of homework a night, after which returns diminish. So basically what he's saying is, again, we should do progressive homework, and that students at most should receive between 90 minutes and 2.5 hours a night of homework for high schoolers. This is in line with what the National Education Association says. But if you remember back to the University College Education Survey, that's not what we're doing. We're over-assigning students to where homework is not only not helping you, but it's becoming detrimental. Another thing here in America, we like to give drilling assignments such as vocabulary and practice math equations. Now, this seems a good idea on the surface, have the student learn the material. But the problem comes in a scenario like this. You have a math student that learns the processing correctly, and then goes home and does 30 assigned problems for homework. So not only is the homework not going to help him because he's not practicing correctly, it now becomes a problem because it's reinforcing in his head the incorrect method. So now when they go to do it on the test, and they try to remember what they're supposed to do, they're going to think back to the incorrect method instead of going back the right way.
Now, in the end, what does this wind up doing to students? It does, in the end, harm their education, but it also harms their psychological state. According to Gregory Cizik, an education researcher, he says it produces gripping anxiety in even the brightest of students, and makes young children vomit, cry, or both, and it causes irregular sleeping habits, tiredness, worry, eating disorders, and inability to concentrate, even an impaired immune system, according to Daniel Edelstein in his article, Tests plus Stress equals Problems for Students. This winds up resulting in more hard concentration skills when in school, and eventually more homework. This is something that becomes a catch-22 and a vicious cycle.
Alright, so where's the leaves at the end? How do we fix our American education system? Well, unfortunately, if you think about it, we have already bought into standardization, and the homework supports that. So in order to fix education, it requires starting from the ground up, which is a long and painful process, but in the long run, will be beneficial to our students. Thank you.
All right, guys. Shh, please. Where'd you guys grow in knowledge during this project?
We grew in knowledge by we started understanding how homework and stress and pressure from school affects students' health. But at the same time, we were able to understand that standardized testing and is used so that teachers and the state can know where exactly students are. And homework is used for practicing, but we were able to also understand that too much of this isn't it isn't helpful to students.
What advice would you have for other people that are looking into public education?
I'd probably suggest looking into what the statistics are, what the psychology is, what is the recommended amount of homework, what might be the best solutions for the standardized guidelines, figuring out means that are both intuitive and allow for the creativity of the students while simultaneously appealing to the guidelines that are required by the state.
In the end, Zach, since you're the last one, would you say Common Core is good or bad?
I would say that it has an overall negative impact on students.
All right. Thank you very much.